What is going on, Cowboy Nation? Welcome back to Primetime Studios. Welcome to the off-season, the official off-season, even though we had to start our off-season a little bit sooner than we wanted to. But welcome anyways. Welcome, and thank you for coming back. Thank you for even sharing, liking everything that you did. And Bryan, thank you for, of course, joining me on our lovely Friday afternoon.
How's everybody doing out there?
We have a nice little chat going. Michael Dana was in here with Brooklyn Joe. Brooklyn Joe had me laughing quite a bit of some of his comments that he was making. Of course, Twiz is in here, and of course we say sorry for your loss. And but of course, if you watch Mark's home channel, you know.
I mean, I have a question for you, Phil. Because you're talking about Twiz.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to get to the Super Bowl and lose, or not to get to the Super Bowl at all? And I'm speaking of the Cowboys. I mean, what do you think?
Well,
I have my answer, but I'm curious.
With our drought, there's I have two different ones. Like, I guess I'm jumping on the fence and I can't choose a side. But of course, I want to get there. We haven't been there for so long to get our hopes up to at least know that we're in there. It's kind of like the lottery. You got to be in it to win it.
I'm with you.
But at the same time, I think about my draft picks because we're not great at swapping them around.
I would rather get there, though, Phil.
Yeah, I would too.
To shut people up, get past the conference, win a championship game. We can't get past the divisional round. That's the new thing now. Did you say Dak is 0-4 in the divisional round?
Here we go with these guys. Yeah. But when we go back, of course, we got Gina. What's going on, Gina? We have Glimmerman, 24/7 Cowboy, Caramel Corn, Rhonda's in the house, Jeff Lee,
Rhonda
Mark
Sparks.
Hudson. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming in. If I've missed you, I apologize. But no, welcome back, man. We're gonna talk. We start talking about off seasons. Of course, we've been talking about off season. If you've joined us each time, it's just we can't help but look forward. We're even looking forward to next year.
I'm excited now. That it's over. I don't know about everybody else. The season's over, but it's the NFL. Nothing's ever over, man. We're already got a bunch of topics, and we'll try and cover what we can. But 24/7 Cowboy liked the question. Yeah, I heard Mark talking about it the other day, and I just thought about it. I mean, would you? Like I always say, you get there, you better win it, and it's true. But I think it's been so long for us, it would quiet some people because you can't argue with the numbers, right? We have 5 Super Bowl championships. Other teams have 1, and we'll leave that team nameless. But they've been to the dance a bunch of times, or at least close to the dance. So that's all I was saying. I need to get there. Yes. Of course, I want to win it, but I'm not going to be that greedy.
I want at least have that feeling of that lottery ticket in my hand, and it's like there's a chance I can win. There's a chance, Hopefully, we brought the right combination of numbers, But obviously, just to even have your guys in those interviews and seeing the story of how they got there, it's just like it's exciting. And I mean, yes, you pointed out that there's people don't usually remember the losers of those ones. It's that is the truth. Obviously, the rivals will always remember those little things as well too. But hey, we're talking off season, and so this is definitely the conversation. Welcome to the new graphics.
What's up, Michael Dana? What's up? Hey, 24/7. We lost. Well, Mark. I guess we lost 3, right? I mean, we lost to the 3. Colts, right?
Mm-hmm. And then
I don't count the Colts as a Super Bowl. Was that a Super Bowl?
That was a Super Bowl. They were actually calling it a Super Bowl.
So we've been to 8.
Because what? I want to say we've been to 8.
Because we won the 5. We lost to the Steelers, so we've been to 8.
Yes, we've been to 8.
Not 7. Okay, that's my bad then. I don't know where I lost it.
Yeah, you were.
So yeah, we've lost 3. The 24/7.
So James Nooks wants to hit with the hard questions right away. So what do y'all think top priority is in the off season? Well, I mean, going into. I would say getting those weapons, getting the number 2s.
We need to
shoot for ones.
I think we need to. Yeah. Well, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, a number 2 corner, a number 2 wide receiver. I want somebody that we can rely on. If CeeDee Lamb is not doing his thing, or the tight end's not doing their thing, I want somebody that we know, okay, I'm going to just give him the ball, and that's what I want. I just want another weapon. I mean, obviously Gallup was going through the whole offseason, and then
virus.
I don't know if he was 100% by the time he came back. He was battling through some stuff. He just wasn't, he's
There's
never
no
got
way
separation.
He can. There's no way he was not the way he looked.
And that's the way I feel about Pollard, It's like this whole thing about the franchise tag, everything, paying him. It's just like how, he was a great weapon. And you pay a weapon. I definitely believe that quote where they're saying, you don't play your running backs, you play, you pay weapons, and that's what he is. So I'm a little bit concerned of how he's going to come back and play.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm excited to identify what direction we're going in.
Yeah.
We need to, and we'll know right away. I had no idea I would feel the way I feel, but just how the season ended. And we'll get into it because we have a little segment coming up a little later that's kind of neat. But I'm just curious to see what we are doing as a team. Who are we going to identify as far as our own free agents? And what are we going to do with Tony Pollard and Zeke? That's what we need to, because what I want to do has nothing to do with those guys. And, like I said, we'll get into it, but just briefly, it's like
I think that's a
I'm
good
kind of ready to move on, man. We need to free up some space, and I want some young guys to go along with Dak.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So we're gonna jump on this Zeke question right off the bat. You've heard we talked about it. Obviously, we thought about the restructuring before there was even talk about restructuring. We kind of knew that was kind of something that was going to be brought up. We can walk away from you. It's going to be cheaper to do it that way. I mean. What's a number that you settle on? Where is the value there?
I don't think he's going to settle on my number. That's the thing.
Well, I mean,
after thinking about it, well, just look at it here. I wrote the numbers down right before we came on. If we cut Zeke, just outright cut him. We can cut him and like resign him to a different deal.
Yeah.
If we cut him post June 1, it's just about $11 million. You're going to save.
Yep.
There's going to be about a $5 million dead money, but you can't worry about that. You only got to worry about what you're freeing up. If you're going to cut Zeke, it'll be a post-June, but we'll get it. I would talk about Zeke, but without ruining my questions.
Angelica.
Yeah, I'll be curious to know what direction they're going. We have a lot of free agents. Yeah. We talked about it a little bit, Phil, but I don't know that I can bring back Pollard at $10 million a year.
Yeah.
The last 12 Super Bowl winners haven't paid more than
you're talking about the running
$4 million
right?
for the running back backfield.
Yeah.
Like the last 12 Super Bowl winners did not have a running back making more than $2 million a year. The Eagles' whole backfield made $4 this year. So are we going to just not look at those numbers because we like our guys? So that's a tough question, man. I'm just very interested to see what they're going to do with it. I don't want to do what Emmitt Smith said. Emmitt Smith says he wants them both back. I don't know, people. What do you think? Am I being too mean or what?
I'm kind of like I've been able to ignore those drills that you'll see, and right before the season starts, all of a sudden you see Zeke. Oh, he's cutting and he's jumping over barrels, and and this year I honestly got sucked into it. I'm usually pretty good about ignoring that part because I'm like, that doesn't mean anything for the season, but I did get sucked into it. I thought he was going to be really good. Obviously, it started out really well. And then, it was really bad. It's not that younger Zeke where he was breaking those tackles. He was spinning off of tackles. He was so it's just not that same drive. Obviously I don't know if he's trying to do career choices where he's just like, okay, I'm just going to, take care of myself. That way I can go for a longer career. So, that's kind of questionable, but even if okay, what would you offer?
I'm kind of leaning, Phil. To bringing back Zeke on the cheap.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't want to, if he doesn't want to take a significant cut, then I would bring back Pollard. I guess try and sign him Yeah, because at least you'll be able to spread the money. To me, I'm beyond getting Pollard for 1 year.
Yeah.
And paying him the 10 mil.
Because he's not going to be as helpful.
Okay, so you could offer him the franchise, pay him 10 mil, Phil. But if you sign him for, let's say, a 4-year deal and make it big money, you could stretch it out. I don't know what you guys think about that. I'm very excited. Hey, Stacy, how are you? I'm very excited about 2 running backs, and one of them most likely will be there at 26 in the first round. I'm starting to get into it. So, man.
I mean, there's a lot of.
I'm excited about really these young guys. I really am.
I'm excited. Like when I look at the running backs, there's like 2 running backs that kind of excite me. I on my draft, I put Sean Tucker definitely. I like the guy from Alabama as well too.
Alabama, that's my guy, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Like I see him. I've got him on some of my mocks as well, and so I'm like, that's the guy I like. I like how he runs. I like how
may go first, but Jahmyr Gibbs. He reminds me a lot of a Tennessee running back who ran really fast at the combine. Who am I thinking of? Give me his name, people. He played for the Titans. Chris
Johnson.
Chris Johnson, CJ. He's a cross between like Chris Johnson and like Alvin Kamara. I mean, he's just.
Yeah, James.
Really
Johnson Robinson. Yeah, he's talking about the guy from Texas.
Yeah. And then you got Bijan, who I've been talking about. I just don't.
I think there's a lot of good running backs right now. Like there is, and you can get them kind of deep in the draft. And again, it's the same thing with my tight ends.
They love the TCU running back. If you guys are familiar, we're going to start getting into the draft next week, but we'll start doing some mock drafts live for us, and like we can even discuss as a group. We could do. What me and Phil would do, and then and then we could do what the listeners want. I mean, everybody has their own spice and flavor to things. But that's why what I'm saying is kind of neat because who are we bringing back, and that's going to dictate obviously who we're going to take in the draft. We all say we'll take the best talent. Well, you're not going to take if you re-sign Zeke and bring Pollard back, you're not going to draft a running back in the first round. So Bijan may be sitting there. You think they're going to take him if that happens?
No.
Hell no.
I mean, unless you're thinking about that next move, I mean, that's that could be just because depends on what they re-sign him, how long.
It's fascinating.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, I mean, but okay, so when we're talking about the whole Zeke thing, $5 million a year is that a reasonable thing to offer the guy?
What is he
going to go? Like, if he's going to go off and do something,
that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, maybe that's not too far off. We can negotiate something in between. Maybe 5 with some incentives.
Back then.
With some incentives,
Yeah.
But
I don't mind bringing one of them back, even if it's Zeke for goal line stuff, and then drafting a young guy if it's a Bijan or a Jahmyr Gibbs.
I just don't know what Zeke. What's he going to draw in the open market? Is people? Oh, let me just grab this guy. No, I mean, other than the name for a jersey,
come back. I know, man. That's what makes it, fascinating. And I'm with Mark Hutchin here. He's saying give Davis a chance. Well, that's what I was saying. Yeah. I would let them both go. I'm sorry. I know that sounds harsh when I said that.
No, I don't think so. You got to make choices like that.
You know what I mean, Phil? Yeah. I mean, you saw what happened. You have to reevaluate. I want to go out and get a number 1 receiver, okay? The receiver in this draft, there's one first round, and it's a stretch. I have guys that I like, but nobody's going to come right in. It's going to be a shock if anybody comes in and is unbelievable. Obviously, there will be a couple really good players, but I want to go out and get a number 1 receiver. Yeah. So I'm going to need money allotted to that position, which means I want to go young and running back. It's just me. I feel like thank you for your service,
Yeah, no, and I totally get that. Just because, I don't see him going on to the open market. People are just going to be like, again, unless they're trying to just, a team that knows they're not going to win, and they just want to sell jerseys, and so you can get the Zeke jersey, and people will, I know that's a little bit harsh, but I mean, they're just not a big draw for it.
You're right. That's the thing. You have to look at it like the black and white, man. I'm sorry, but just look.
And I think
that stat, right, Phil, that the last 12 Super Bowl winners didn't pay their running back more than $2 million a year. That's a telling stat. Now, I would be more inclined to bring back Pollard because he's such a weapon all over the field, and then give Davis and then like a young guy.
Yeah.
I could see doing. If you bring back Pollard, to me, you're not taking a running back in the first round. Now you're looking at somebody like the guy from TCU that the Cowboys really like.
Or
somebody down the line, and then you'll have Malik Davis. You can't. Am I wrong, Phil? You ain't going to re-sign Pollard for big money and then take a Bijan Robinson. You're not. You're going to go another direction. So
there's definitely some running backs in this draft that I think definitely compared to a Pollard. I'm not going to try to say that because Pollard is very special. It's like we've seen him be able to get the ball in his hands and get into open space and definitely make some nice, beautiful stuff happens. I've liked the combination between the punch of Zeke and him. But yeah, I'm not against that as well. If you're going to use the money wisely, if you're going to go out and get a receiver, because yes, the Super Bowl just proved that a running back, it can be a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
And but I'm definitely with Glimmerman when he says I'm not drafting a running back in the first round. I'm drafting O-line or D tackle, and that's where I'd be. That's exactly where I would lie my head.
I'm just now getting into the O-line, but the more I read about Torrance, and we'll have the combine. He's not really a fit for what we're looking for. If we're going to a West Coast, he's just not. I mean, he's kind of slow-footed a little bit. He's a huge mammoth guy, but he's not going to get to the second level. And I really like him, but that's with our...
Well, that's what you teach him as well, too, hopefully.
Yeah, and that's possible. It's not like he absolutely can't, but that's not his strong suit. And the guard, position in the draft is not very deep.
Yeah.
So that's why I said I wanted him in the first round. But
Frederick Johnson.
We'll see who they decide to bring back. If they bring back McGovern, then we're not taking the guard in the first round.
Frederick Johnson agrees with you. He says running back is the easiest position to transition from college to the NFL. I would release Elliott and Pollard and draft T. Spears from Tulane.
Tulane or Gibbs. I love Gibbs.
Sorry,
I love Gibbs.
And Gibbs from Alabama.
I love Gibbs.
Yeah, and I liked him as well too. When I saw a lot of his
See,
tape.
I was worried because like Brooklyn Joe said, Eagles will take Bijan at 10. That's fine. I was more worried about somebody else taking Bijan, and then the Eagles jumping ahead of us before our pick at 26 to take Jahmyr Gibbs. Because Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm telling you, he's going to be the best running back. I mean, he's just a really, really good explosive player, man.
Yeah.
He's got that 6 foot.
James Nooks is talking about the same thing that Mike brought up, that the offensive coordinator from the Kansas City Chiefs obviously goes and takes the position at Washington. Is it more because he thinks there's a possibility, like, some people go, oh, he took that lateral move, but, somebody pointed out as well, I mean, what plays was he calling? He wasn't calling a whole lot of the plays, and this is kind of a good move for him, and a possibility of a head coaching job that could be waiting for him if Ron Rivera doesn't improve.
Yeah.
So I mean, I totally forgot that
was a weird. I was weirded out by that. Why would you go to the Commanders? But that, I don't know, that tells me that he wasn't doing much and didn't like his role with the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. Andy Reid's coming back. He wasn't relinquishing anything to do with the playoffs,
Yeah, I definitely agree right there.
Calling plays, I mean, sorry.
I thought there was just definitely a good way for him to move up. Obviously probably not the best position to go for out of all the NFL teams. I mean, the offense is kind of, it doesn't have an identity. Obviously, maybe you're getting there to put an identity on there, but it's not exciting. Obviously, the offseason hasn't happened. The draft hasn't happened, so it could change as well. But they're kind of within this NFC East. They're kind of that one child that we're just like, yeah, he's, yeah. And we just kind of look over at him and it's like, yeah, he's a relative. He represents, yeah. And that's all about as nice as far as you can put it. But yeah, Glimmerman as well. When we're talking about the running backs, he says, I am keeping either Pollard or Elliott. Elliott could be okay. Pollard is going to be, do I got to cut off? Be hit and miss. Broken foot now with a knee, but that seems to bounce back well. Who who plays for the cheapest. And yeah, I think that might be a big one. I
mean, yeah,
because that's what I was worried about with bringing Pollard back, especially with all that money. You're giving him a big chunk now. If you do a longer contract, like Brian's saying, you can give him less in that first year, and it kind of balances out because that next year maybe he's going to get paid more. But he's going to do more too.
I'm at the point now where if you really want him, then sign him to a multi-year deal, bring his number down, even below 10.
I thought so too.
Do you know what I mean? It's just, okay, we're going to give him a 1-year deal, and then, he's going to be playing for a contract next year, and if he has a slight injury, he's going to say, yo, coach, I can't. Mm-hmm. I just I would like to have a rookie on a rookie deal that has to go prove himself with a shit ton of talent. If it's Bijan, if it's Jameer, if it's Spears, whoever, and then like I said, then you can find backs. We got Malik Davis. That's the way I would go. Yeah. I really would like to get. I'm seeing digs everywhere. I don't know about you, Phil. I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Now really you got Trayvon putting pictures of Stephon with number 14 on the Cowboys. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. Like he's definitely recruiting hard.
That's getting. They're listening to me.
Yeah,
I tweeted
like it.
And I tweeted Trayvon, Stephon, and I forget who else, but yeah, I said we need to get this done, man, and it was that picture. He didn't get back to me, but then he goes ahead and does tweets it out. I thought that was funny. What's up, Glimmerman? I am drafting O-line and defensive tackle high. Yeah, well, that's why the Eagles, they might go defense with that first pick. I don't know that they go Bijan. Eagles, the way their blocking is, they don't need an elite runner, but their defense, they got a lot of holes on that defense.
That's what I was going to say, because you're going to have to pay your quarterback, so you're going to need to replace a lot of the pieces in the defense that are going to go away and get paid.
$53 million, what I'm hearing for him.
And so you got to go. You're probably your edge rusher is obviously going to be a big. Maybe another defensive tackle. We don't know what your center is doing. So it's just there's a lot of there that you're going to need to replace. It's just like the Cowboys. I mean, we have some spots that we're going to need to replace, but there's also ones that we should replace. Always talking about elevating. We all know Noah Brown. Nothing against, he was serviceable, but we need to stop with the serviceable. Obviously, serviceable is good when we're trying to fill in the role at the end. But
Angelica hates the fact that he's a mod.
And No, and so I look at that position and I want T.Y. Hilton. I'm okay with bringing him back because he's a situational guy. He can get open. He knows football. I mean,
if we're bringing T.Y. back, Phil, it's because we're not bringing Noah Brown back.
Yeah,
nothing against Noah Brown, but I don't need to see him getting 8, 9, 10 balls thrown his way in a playoff game. That's an issue.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, Twiz, this is for you. I got some facts here for Twiz out there. We could say what we want about the Eagles, but every coaching hire this offseason is from the Eagles coaching tree. Yeah, believe it or not, other than Bieniemy. Just look. You got, let's see. Yeah, you have D'Amico Ryans, okay? He played the linebacker for the Eagles.
Yeah.
You have Steichen. He went to Indy. We know who he is. You got Gannon. He went to Arizona. And you have Peyton, who went to Denver, who used to be an assistant coach for the Eagles. So
all these teams are going
to
say
what we
now?
want, but everybody's siphoning, man. That's what happens when you get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
You
win
it, it's even worse.
Yeah, that's why
everybody wants to get
you're
paid.
hoping that you got some of your guys lined up. It's kind of crazy how coaches. Yeah, obviously you wanted ability to elevate yourself and just. You sign this nice contract, and it's just kind of weird how you can just kind of just jump out of it. Oh, they got to hire, So,
Yeah, right.
And that's how the Super Bowls are. I mean, even if you got your team locked up, they can be picked apart.
Now, a Glimmerman says, I am done with Brown.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to go. I assume that's Anthony Brown, right?
I was like, maybe I'm talking about right? Noah Brown. We were talking about Noah Brown, so I was thinking that maybe he was talking about him. But yeah, I'll pick your Brown and Brown.
I'm done with Anthony. Well, listen, I don't want to get. I'm done with Noah Brown. You know, we can't do without him on special teams. Just like C.J. Goodwin, thank you, but you got to go. We can't pay you that anymore for just that. But I'm done with it. I mean, Anthony Brown's coming off of an Achilles. I don't think we can bring him back, man.
Yeah,
I don't think we can bring Anthony Brown back. I got some things I would do. It's basically the same moves that everybody's saying, but I got the numbers here if you guys want to hear what I would do as far as who I would cut. We did, touch on who we wanted to keep. Just briefly, our free agents. I don't want to hijack you too much, but
do your thing.
We can run through them real fast. Anthony Barr, I think he's gone.
I wouldn't bring him back.
Anthony Brown, he's coming back from an Achilles. I
wouldn't bring him back.
You know how that works, man.
We need
I don't think you sign him.
We need to find somebody new to be disappointed in.
I'm gonna sneeze, so you go ahead.
Okay. Well, I mean, as we're talking about bringing people back, I guess another guy that I would automatically think about would be LVE. I mean, he would be a guy that I would definitely bring back. So
yeah, that's what I was looking at. LVE.
Yeah, maybe it's coming back now. Would you bring the sneeze back? This looks like the sneeze came back as well.
My allergies have been so bad. Yeah, I mean LVE. I think you have to resign.
I like it.
Yeah,
I want more linebackers. I definitely want more.
I mean, he's a good backup linebacker. But he's an unbelievable special teams. I think you got to find a way to get him back.
Yeah, I think I'm sorry to put him.
He's
in there
one of those guys
good.
I was telling you about before we went on.
Yeah, he's also to me one of those guys that you need to elevate. You need to bring somebody in. Obviously, he's always kind of been that backup guy. But put him on the practice squad for now to try to fill up that role. I don't know. I want to elevate. He just reminds me so much. Again, he reminds me of Noah Brown in that sense that he's been there for us. He's been serviceable, but he's not going to be that guy.
Yeah. Wiz, I'm behind. Damn internet. I was trying to tell y'all you need a winner. Grab someone from us. Yeah, okay.
I mean, they got good talent. They had some really good talent as well, too. So, I mean, you can't
listen, man. You do have some good talent. You already touched on T.Y. I'm not opposed to bringing T.Y. back, but if that's the case, then we're not bringing back Noah, please.
No,
Dante Fowler, I think he's done.
Because you got to give Simi a try. I'm sorry. It's just, I know people are going to hit their head, but you got to give him a try. You got to see what you have. And then who do you got? You got Tolbert as well still there. So if you bring back Hilton, you have room for one good Gracie star.
I think he's going to have a nice bounce back year. I honestly
still got Gallup. Yeah, so I mean, you have room for one guy there, and I think that needs to be that weapon that you're bringing in.
Right. You maybe hold off to see if you make a trade because I'm here. I only really watch a few Cowboys guys, and word is they want to significantly. That's the term they said. The Cowboys want to significantly upgrade their wide receiving core. Well, what does that mean, Phil? What does that mean? That tells me you're going to go trade for somebody.
We're going to put new paint on the wall.
Huh?
They're going to put new paint on the wall. It's just they meant the receiver room. We didn't mean the actual core. That's
I know. I want Jonathan Hankins back, but he's one of those guys. I mean, you gave up a 6th round pick, so we're going to have a 6th because of the comp picks, but. Yeah, I would like to see Hankins back. You got Connor McGovern. We'll know a lot because if they bring him back on a long-term deal, then they ain't drafted no offensive guard in the 1st round. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
we're going to learn a lot based on what they do with their own free agents. We got to bring back one of the long snappers. We got 2 of them that are free agents. So pick your choice. You got Jake McQuaid, or we got the Matt Overton who came in because McQuaid got hurt. There's nobody really else. Oh, well, I want to get to my questions.
What about
in a
Fowler?
Minute, so I won't bring him up. But Dalton Schultz, I think we've all agreed he's gone, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, right. He's gone. And I think I would imagine that they're going to re-sign Terrence Steele. I think Terrence Steele deserves to have a contract. He was playing at a Pro Bowl level. Yeah, he may not have made it this year, but he would have made it next year if he didn't get hurt. So those are the main guys that we have to decide on what we're doing before we get into the draft. So that's what I'm excited for.
Well, Glimmerman brings up a couple of other people as well. He says, I like Fowler. I definitely like Fowler as well, too. I definitely would like him in a rotational role, so I'm good with him as well being in there. But, again, I want to elevate that position. And so, you got Tyron Smith he's talking about, or Peters. I don't mind Tyron Smith coming back with some restructuring, but I don't mind him being that swing tackle, that backs up. And then you have Walesko, you have those guys that could be that third or whatever. But, I just definitely feel like we need to, whether you're putting Tyler Smith there or are you going to draft for that position? Are you going to bring, I'm not for, I don't know too many people in the league that become free agents that I'm going to be like, I'm going to jump on to become our left tackle. So, there's probably more guys in the left.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you're going to see a lot of free agents being signed by us.
So that means you need a draft.
If you're going to make trades, I have a feeling that you're going to see some trades, people, either in the draft, before the draft. I just do. I don't think Dallas is going to sign a lot of free agents. Now, I did post something on my channel earlier this week. They really want Daron Payne. They really want Daron Payne.
I was thinking they were going to demand
inside the star.
I thought they were going to demand like $20 million a year or so.
Yeah, that's somebody that I trust. That his name has come up, and they're going to make a play for him, whether they get him or not.
That'd be
now,
big.
if Washington resigns him, then he may hold out. He don't want to go back there.
That's true. That's true.
But that's a question. What do you?
I would love that move.
You guys want? I mean, would you want a Daron Payne or would you want a Diggs? Because you can't get them both. So it's like trade for Stephon Diggs at 24
million. I can't. I think you could get both. I think you definitely could get both, especially if you're making the moves. Like you're not going to bring. Maybe you're not bringing Pollard and Zeke back, and you got to make some of those tough decisions.
Exactly why I didn't really want to, Phil. Yeah. I want to go young on offense, man. I want to go young, explosive in the backfield. And I want to add those couple guys. If we got a Payne and a Trayvon, Stephon,
No, those are big acquisitions right there. That would definitely change. Those are the big moves that we're talking about. That with the Charles Haley, the Deion Sanders, those guys that pushed you over that little hill that you have. Right now, you're on that hill. It's like it's either you're going to go over it or you're going to go rolling backwards.
All right, but if you had to pick one, what would you take? If
I had to choose one or the other,
this isn't part of my question. Would you take? Would you take
Payne? I would take Payne.
I know where I would go with this.
I would go Payne.
I think I'd go Payne.
Yeah.
He's that good. I think I would take Payne over Diggs.
Yeah.
But I don't want to have to make that decision.
No.
But that's both. One of my.
Yeah. You got some of these guys both. I definitely would love that. I mean, because you're. What was a big problem that you have, and going forward, if you got a guy like Payne there, and then you're rotating him with Osa Digizua, I'm not exactly happy with the Gallimore whole thing, but you got Bohanna, that's possibly something there. So you could rotate him with some guys that have made some splashes of noise, and you got some pretty good trio right there. And then you wouldn't have to worry about
a lot of this Payne over Diggs. Yeah, I would want both. And Mark,
that's a tough one.
Finish
I like
thought,
that,
Phil, and then I'll get into what he's talking about because I wrote some how we could free up some money.
Well, let's talk about it, man. We're good. Everybody knows.
All right, that's cool. Listen, if these are very realistic. Well,
let me jump in there real quick.
Like you fly by night. I think there's going to be some surprise cuts that I'm not even thinking of right now that may save four there. But these should happen. This is pre-June 1. You could do it any time. I think you cut Jordan Lewis. You save $4.4 million.
Okay, bring in Patrick Peterson.
Well, because you have Bland. Okay. You have Deron Bland. That he's your number 2. You're going to draft somebody. You know, you saw who we played at corner in the playoffs, and he did really well. That's Mukwamu. You know, they had used him as safety for a couple of years. So it's like, yeah, I want a couple new bodies. Boss Man's not going anywhere this year. He was our best special teams player. Give him another shot.
I don't know if D-Law can be cut.
But if you cut it at Jordan Lewis, you'll save 4.4. You cut Zeke post June, you save 10.9. You cut Tyron Smith, you save 13.6. And here's a name
even if you're
that
bringing
not a lot of
Smith
people
back,
are talking about, but I would cut him. I think you cut Malik Hooker and you save almost $4 million. Hooker didn't have a great year, and I say that, and we'll get into our questions. This is why we didn't really do everything in order, but I would cut Malik Hooker, and that just those moves right there, you save $32 million. And then you restructure Dak, just extend it out. Dak's not going anywhere.
No.
Restructure him, and you restructure Zach Martin, who didn't slip much. You know, I know he's getting up there in age. He's 32, but he's one of the best guards in the league, if not the best guard. Just by doing those moves, you save over $60 million. You save $60 million. We're what, 7 over?
And those are all justifiable
now,
moves, too.
Over. So that brings us to $53 million in cap room. So that's just with that. That's not with Gallimore and a lot of these other moves that, you know. So I wouldn't cut D-Law.
Yeah, I think he's guaranteed money.
It pays to do so.
No. Yeah, we have
maybe
Clark
next
as well, too.
year.
That's why I'm okay with subtracting some linebackers as well. So there's a lot of guys I want to see. McClay, I'm excited to see the next level of talent that comes in here, because even the last 2 years, I've definitely been very happy with the where we've been able to put these guys, with the talents we've been able to find them. Again, Bland is somebody you bring up, and that's a very big acquisition to be able to do that, to know that now, okay, well, we can let Jordan Lewis go, save some stuff here, and then, that's what we're talking about, getting that other corner that's going to complement Diggs.
That if you sign somebody long-term, like when we re-sign a Diggs, you're going to look at the annual or the APY. He's so young that you could stretch that out. The immediate cap hit won't be the $21 million that he's going to get APY. That's not that it'll be lower. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. That's why, hold up.
But I mean, there's a lot of moves. I think they're gonna have to make some big decisions, whether it's going into the what are we gonna do with our future? Are we gonna get our future tackle, all that stuff, so we can make that Tyron Smith? That whole getting past that whole Dallas Cowboys love to react compared to preparing just in case something happens. So that's where the Peters things happen. We want Peters to kind of be the backup, and obviously he might get snatched up somewhere else. But we kind of want to put our plan in together. Whether it's our guys in the practice squad, like a Molesko, and I don't know if he's talking to us or he's talking to them, okay? And then...
I had so many to stop by. Yeah, so
we're talking about...
Right then and there, you could save that kind of money, man. So, and I don't know what you were talking about, Phil. I'm sorry, but
no. We're just talking about the different moves we can make to make some money kind of appear. And so I mean, I'm getting excited about the next wave of those talents, because the past couple of years has been some really good talent that we've gotten in here. Probably not the guys that I would have. There were some guys that I would have. Jake Ferguson. I was so big on Jake Ferguson. We were talking in that draft, so when it happened, I was extremely excited. Because, it's just one of those guys. I think the last time I was excited about somebody like that was Xavier Woods. And because I saw him kind of there, and he got drafted
and that
late.
Worked out great now.
I know. But obviously it's a defensive guy, you don't know how they're going to be within the scheme and if they're going to be able to cover. But tight end, what you have. And there's another wave of tight ends, even guys that are unknown like McCassell. It's just some big guys. There's a guy from Cincinnati, Josh Wyatt, I believe his name is, and he's a big tight end. And he's just a big weapon, And so there's a lot of guys that can be replacing what Schultz was doing. And, again, you can save money by doing that. And now you get, again, you got to kind of take that whole strategy that we have about the quarterback, you can get a Super Bowl team together if you can get a nice rookie contract. I think that's what you're building here, is these guys on rookie contracts.
Yeah, well, look at Mike Aldana and what he said. I can pull up the numbers right here. D-Law. If you cut pre-June 1, you save $9 million.
Okay.
But there's a lot of dead money there. If you do it post,
I don't mind keeping him around. I don't mind him keeping him around just because
I think you need him now. I really do. I'm hearing Dorrance Armstrong's name coming up. Why in the heck would we cut him? There's two names that I'm hearing, that possibly, we could cut. Dorrance being one of them, and I have no idea why we would want to do that.
Yeah.
The contract we got coming up soon is Micah. We got to get Trayvon re-signed and
CeeDee Lamb.
And CeeDee Lamb. So those are three, but I just showed you an easy way to save $60 million, and that's with only redoing the two guys that we talked about. There's a lot of ways that we could do it, and these long-term deals aren't going to mean that you can't get back who you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just not the case.
Yeah, you just got to do your wheeling and dealing. I mean, if the Saints kind of were how many negative $60 million, and then they got underneath and were able to make some moves before that season started. So I mean, you can't make that excuse, It's just, and that's where obviously Cowboy Nation, we know when it comes out of everybody's got to get the piece of the pie, and they're like, get out of here with that, man. We know how football works. We're not that average fan that watches the scoreboard and just kind of like, oh well, if got to go by what he says. I don't know his job. That doesn't fly right. We still need to make those splashes, and that's why we get excited about Trayvon trying to recruit his brother in there, because that's exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for that guy on the other side, the number 2, the possible number 1. I want that. I want us to a guy that's a threat, and I want that on the corner as well. I want it on the outside.
Yeah, Glimmer Man brings up a good point with the guys that I've been kind of telling Mark and you. I'm like, okay, not to be nasty, but it's time to either go to the bathroom or get off the pot. Like what's up with Cox?
Yeah.
Okay. Is he on the team? Is he going to contribute? If not, then we need to move on. We got Damone Clark. We got the other guy who they got, who I think has a good upside, especially on special teams.
Well,
I don't have the names in front of me right now.
You pointed this out before.
Josh Ball. Yeah. Do we need Josh Ball?
Well, that's what I was saying. You pointed this out before we went on the broadcast that there's a lot of project guys. There's a lot of guys that we're hoping, we have the potential and stuff like that. I mean, what you have in a lot of these players, but there's also a lot of potential type of players, and that's where we're talking about getting
Devin
rid,
Harper,
shaving
that's
some of
who
them.
I was thinking of. Devin Harper. You still got Devin Harper. We got a lot of younger guys.
Like Damone Clark is great. That was a great addition there.
We got Williams on defense. I just want to go young, Bill. At this point, I just think that's the smart way to go.
Yeah, I think Bell
just how the season played out. How it played out. I think it's time to move on from both of our backs. So I think that's going to happen. No, but wouldn't you guys be excited if we got Daron Payne? Let's say we didn't get Diggs, but let's say we went out and got Hopkins. We gave up a lesser pick and we brought in Hopkins, to go along with this mix. Let's say we got a Bijan Robinson or a Jameer or some explosive young running back. Wouldn't you be excited about that?
No.
I would be more excited about that than bringing back Pollard and Zeke and McGovern. You have to switch. You have to move on.
So let's jump into some of these guys. I didn't want it to go that way.
Marquise Bell.
Yeah. That one right there, because what's going to have with Dono? What's going to have with Dono? That's another one that you haven't brought up in the sense of a contract. Donovan Wilson. He balled out.
He has to be back.
You want him to be back, but Obviously, you talk about possibly getting rid of a hooker get rid of a hooker.
Well,
getting rid of a hooker to save about a couple million. And but Bell could definitely fill in that role. Give him a chance because I think that's one thing you saw with him in college was that he's smaller, but he made plays. And sometimes those guys, there's certain people that kind of just shine when the lights come on, and I think that could be one of those kind of guys. But yeah, I definitely like that, Mike. You're talking. Glimmerman brings up. What about Alan Gon? Like that. We kind of do. We need to figure out what we have with him.
I think he's on the team. I heard. I don't know. I heard McCarthy talking about him before the end of the year. Like after the year had ended, and they said, "Well, now that the exemption is up, because I believe it's up, right, Phil?"
Yeah, it was. I mean, I thought they have to resign him, right?
I don't know if they extended it. If they extended it, then he's guaranteed to be on the team. Yeah. If they didn't, I think you might still see him on the team. He's made so much progress. Mm-hmm. I think if they were going to move on from him, they would have already have done it.
Yeah.
I think they would have just done it. But all right, let's get to our game, man. I don't know if you have your graphic or
you want to ask some questions. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I want to answer. I want to answer you in the chat some questions. We touched on a lot of it, but whatever. We'll do what we want.
I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Go ahead.
All right. So, do you want to re-sign Donovan Wilson, or now the whole thing about this whole thing is you can't have them both. Okay. Do you want Wilson or Hooker? I had already touched about it.
I would rather have
keep
Wilson.
Hooker and let Wilson go in free agency.
No.
Or do you want to bring back Wilson and cut Hooker?
I'd bring back Wilson, cut Hooker. Yeah. That would definitely. What about you guys in the chat? I mean, I don't think that one's a hard one. You saw Wilson and what he was able to produce this year, and then you saw Hooker. I mean, he's a great role player, but again, you want to see what you have.
Marquise Bell could slide right into the center field spot. You got, there's other options, So
yeah, okay. we got Wilson. We got one here. We got Mike with Wilson, Glimmerman as well.
Rondo
IROC.
Yeah, that was an easy one, but I got to start off easy. You know what I mean? Okay, now this isn't like best case scenario. It's either or, people. So Wilson, everybody's okay. Wilson, I think we need him back. I think we can get him back. I think he's a perfect player for us with him and J-Ron Curse, man. That was another name I heard the other day. People were talking about cutting J-Ron Curse.
Get out of here with that. Get out of here.
He's the captain of our friggin' defense. For what, $4 million? I mean, like whatever. Come on, man.
Get out of here.
Yeah. All right. This is another easy one. You can't have them both. Are you re-signing Zeke or are you re-signing? Now, I will have the caveat. I will add a third, which is nobody. You can let them both go. Are you bringing back Zeke or are you bringing back
Pollard?
Or are you not bringing? You can't say I want them both back. Or are they both gone?
I would bring back Pollard on a long-term deal.
Be both.
I'd bring back Pollard on a long-term deal, not expecting too much from him this year, but hoping you're building a future piece there. Because it reminds me, like you could take that
everybody else then. You want to
take that Cedric Wilson role. Think about how Cedric Wilson was.
Or do you let them both go? I'll throw a caveat because that's not keeping them both. Yeah, Michael Dana says Tony Pollard. It's not as easy as you think because you got to look at the draft. IROC says Pollard, but
if
you can get a young guy in the draft.
But that could be your third running back too. That other running back that you get. So if you put Pollard as your main guy, you get Davis as your backup, and then whoever gets on that third running back, maybe Davis is your third stringer because of the talent that you're able to bring in. Oh, Frederick says both gone.
I'm with Frederick Johnson.
Yeah,
I'm excited to move on. Now,
I wouldn't be against it.
It puts pressure on us to go get one of those top two guys. It does.
Not necessarily. I mean, the Super Bowl running back right now was what, a 7th rounder? I don't remember.
I know. That's the worst case scenario is we don't get Bijan or Jahmyr Gibbs. I really want Gibbs now. The more that I saw him. Mm-hmm. Just look, when you guys get a chance, look at Jahmyr Gibbs.
He's a second or third rounder, but he's nice, yeah.
Elliott and higher draft pick. See, that's what I was going to say. We could do that too. Keep Elliott.
Yeah, I mean, but they're not wrong as well.
I don't have a problem with that.
I like not wrong here where he says, or a free agent. Like if you let both long-term deal. If you let both of them go and then you bring in a free agent, that's not a bad move either. That's
no, not a free agent running back.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about.
No, I would go and trade for a Payne. To me, you can't do all that if you're keeping Zeke and Pollard.
Well, I mean, you could include them in the deal.
You could, but you got to think you're going to.
Well, you're not going to get Pollard because obviously he's on the contract where it's a franchise you can't do until he signs it. It's like this whole thing, but the running back at least with Zeke.
They should kick rocks. Nice.
Yeah, I mean.
Speaking of kick rocks, real quick before we get back to this, Phil, I know me and Phil brought this up during the Super Bowl. The Eagles fans think that the Super Bowl was rigged, but that was ridiculous. Like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, remember, like we said that he speared a guy in the Super Bowl and they never called it. Well, they just fined him $15,000, this afternoon. So everybody's saying everybody was against the Eagles. They're calling shit. So anyway, I saw Twiz and I did write that down. That C.J. Gardner-Johnson was fined today for an illegal hit that was never called in the game. But anyway, let's get back, but that's neither here nor there. So I would let them both go. You're saying you would too, it seems like, right?
No, I would bring Tony back.
You would bring back Pollard.
I would bring back Pollard and then draft a guy later on.
It's only a broken
because
bone, what you have. It's not like he's not going to be back this year.
Exactly. And so I'm signing him long term so I can get him for the next 4 years, and so I can focus around him, and then everybody be the backup kind of thing. Yeah, I have no problem doing that at all. But obviously, I would not be against letting them both go.
Takes a pay cut, we could shop. What does that mean?
He's talking players. Yeah, I mean, if you're not bringing Pollard back and Zeke takes that pay cut, then obviously you can use the other 10 or whatever million that you were going to use on getting some.
Well,
some
exactly.
So I mean, but yeah, they got to stop old habits as well. If everybody else is changing within this team and trying to change philosophies, that front office needs to change that philosophy. So you like what you hear, but until we see something, we're not. It's like the boy who cried wolf. We see that we're used to this. So at least they're saying on the one side. At least last year they were like, we're not going to do anything. We're going to be at home. They're not saying that exactly. So that's a promising thing. So go ahead, continue.
What Glimmerman says, why was it rigged? The whole field gate, with George Toma. He's 92 years old. Why he's in charge of fields, I don't know. But he used to be employed by the Kansas City Chiefs. And why did they call that penalty at the last play? It is what it is, man. That anybody that knows football knows the game. That one play made a difference, but so did Dez caught it. You could always look at it.
That was a shitty field.
There was over 2 minutes to go in the game in Green Bay. There's no guarantee that we would have held on to the lead, even if they gave Dez the touchdown. But getting to my next one, would you re-sign Cooper, Rush? Or let him go and go with Will Grier as the backup?
I would.
It's not as easy as you think, but
no, I would get rid of. I would have to get rid of Rush. I wouldn't bring him back. Again, I want to develop somebody. Whether it's a Will Grier. I'm not big on Will Grier. I did like him a little bit, but I don't mind him being that third option. I would draft in between like the fourth or fifth round, try to find somebody there, and then develop him. And so that would be my ideal, because to me the best. I'm not going to say the best quarterbacks, because obviously there's a lot of guys that come out of college.
Games.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that come out of college that have played in national titles, and so they can start right away. But when you got a quarterback that preps itself for 3 or so years behind the starter, like a Romo, those guys, Steve Young, these guys that stood behind quarterbacks, like think about the carousel quarterbacks that went through Brett Favre. Whether you're talking about Mark Brunell or you're talking talking about Hasselbeck, or you're talking about all these guys. And so, like, you know, that's kind of what I want. I want to groom these quarterbacks to be within this offense and trade them off, give value, you know, get some good draft picks for these guys as well. I mean, McCarthy did that before. We saw Belichick do that. I would love to bring that.
Yeah. Man, I think I would let Cooper Rush go, and I would keep Greer, and then just draft one.
Is he under contract? Could we trade him away?
In the top 3.
Could we trade Rush away?
He's a free agent now.
Is he? Okay,
if you were going to trade him, you would have to have done it.
I was wondering if we signed him for a 2-year. I didn't know if he signed a 2-year contract.
You're going to be surprised how much he gets.
He might get a demand
$7 million a year. You know, I think he's.
It's going to be take one. It's going to take
money as some teams have. They're going to pay Cooper to be their backup.
Yeah, I mean, it just really. I mean, Miami. I mean, you could see him. They're going to try to get a quarterback in the draft, and maybe they get Cooper Rush as their backup. There's definitely the possibility of getting stuff, and there's going to be some teams that are going to be desperate enough to want to solidify that. Well, at least we know what we have. This guy can manage games. He did it over here with Kellen Moore, or maybe he goes to the Chargers. You know, becomes their backup over there because of obviously Kellen Moore. You know.
Yeah. Well, the last one I have here, and it's not real sexy, but it's a very important the question, because it's going to cost money. Are we bringing back Connor McGovern, who's a free agent? Are we bringing him back, or are we going to draft a guard in the first round, maybe first 2 rounds? There's not a lot of guards in this draft, so if you don't get just maybe 2 or 3 guys, those specific guys, then you're not going to come away with a starter.
My whole thing is
that's glaring.
Yeah, I would sign him as a backup role. If he's not into that, man, let him walk. He's going to find he can be a starter. He can be a starter somewhere.
Backup money.
Yeah, and it's totally understandable. Money, so. But I would rather move,
he's got
Tyler
Smith too with
the
center thing.
I would rather move Tyler Smith to the guard position than draft your tackle then, because there is some tackles in this draft.
I don't know that they're doing that though.
But no, I'm not saying it is. But if it was up to me, you're talking about it's up to me, and I'm not doing the dumbass decisions that they are. I'm actually, we don't got somebody there at guard to draft. No, I'm not going to think that. I'm going to go, okay. My original plan was to put Tyler Smith at guard.
Still though,
we don't know. We don't. Yeah, I do like him. Again, I developed it as a second year.
He actually surprised, opened some eyes.
It just always worries me it always worries me when offensive linemen get hurt. Yeah, so when they get hurt very quickly, it's like, are they a guy that gets hurt every year? Is this with Tyron Smith type of situation, but with a guy that just can't seem to stay healthy? So obviously there's those little things, So if you put on weight, you eat the peanut butter. Now, are you a weapon now? We've seen a lot of people take that leap in that second year, so I'm interested to see what we may have there. Yeah, so I'm definitely for that. But again, I would rather go in as Walesko as my backup compared to, he's our projected starter.
Game time and prime time equals double time.
I like that.
Are we keeping Tyler Smith at left guard or left tackle? I know, that's a tough one. I'm thinking he's going to be a tackle for years to come, and you could draft a guard.
Yeah.
Or, listen, that might be a position where we end up picking up a guard. We may end up drafting one and picking one up. Maybe not. You can get guards fairly cheap in free agency. So I could see doing that. I don't see us keeping McGovern. I think he's gone.
Yeah,
because I think it's imperative that
it's like the whole Connor Williams thing. He can be a starter somewhere else. Like again, I don't want to say he's garbage, but one man's garbage is another man's treasure. And he'll be a starter somewhere else because he's obviously going to be better in their offensive line. But compared to what we had and what we're comparing him to, we definitely need that position to be elevated. Whether it's a Tyler Smith that can't get to the second level, that's why it's like I'm okay with getting that tackle, and because I don't want it to be Tyron Smith. I don't want that to be the plan. It's just I'm tired of relying again reacting instead of preparing, and so yeah. So you got that. Rush looks good because of our formula did it. Yeah, and I agree with that because that defense was
we're going to a new system now. So it's going to be more bing, bang, boom. 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, go.
Mark is worried about they're going to hang on to their own. Yeah, and I mean, you need to hang on to some of them, but again, like where Bryan is saying, it just there's a lot of them they need to kind of cut ties, even though it's going to be hard.
I was Mr. Redo Zeke's deal. Mm-hmm. That was me, but I also opened my eyes to what it looked like at the end of the year, and it possibly, even if we have to, it's right there to get a dynamic running back. And you say, you can't take a running back in the first round. At the bottom of the first round, you can. I don't know that I would do it in a top 5 pick, but man.
Well, I mean, that's where I feel better about, and really that's what you're getting. In that first round, you're getting the second round's first. Who would you draft if you were in the beginning of that second round? Who would you draft there? That's what you're kind of getting. And
it's exactly. So, and you might have to move up a couple picks in the first round if,
That's not bad.
I mean, I think you got to be smart about it.
I
honestly do. So I think you need to, I think you need to go into this offseason with your eyes wide open. Don't get caught up, like I think it was Mike, or a Glimmerman, that we like to keep our own players. I think you need to. I'd rather go young than bring all these guys back. There's a few that we have to have back. I really want Donovan Wilson. There's guys. Already touched on it. There's certain guys that I have to have back on this team. I think we need to redo or give Trayvon a deal and CD a deal. I want that. I want that done this offseason. Why do we got to wait and drag it all out? I think Trayvon's going to hold out if we don't give him a deal. That's just my prediction.
Yeah.
Because he was the second round guy. That's not right that it's CD has that 5th year option. Trayvon don't.
But it's going to be better to obviously
if we don't give him a deal this year.
Yeah, you make your guys happy with that.
I don't want to.
No, you want them to focus on football, but again, we need to get that other pieces to complement these two.
Maybe his brother will come after we get that done.
That's what I'm saying. If you sign him up long term, then okay, there's no possibility of him coming over to Buffalo. Maybe I'll go over there. So I mean, there is, especially if they, you saw the frustration he had in that last game, that playoff game. Not getting the ball. Obviously, that diva wide receiver thing is kind of there, and it kind of makes you wonder. But again, if he's with his brother and the camaraderie that this locker room has is just different. I think that can help balance that, especially if you got a guy like CeeDee Lamb on the other side that you're sharing that rock with, or maybe a T.Y. Hilton that you're over the middle, and then you got two young receivers in the sense of Simi Fehoko and
he's another one.
Tolbert
we don't know
as
what
well.
We have with him.
No, I mean, there's some guys that you have some question marks there. That they're young, so you have the possibility potential, and right around where they're at is the breakout season. So I think that's definitely a positive.
Well, just remember what we said about Tolbert. We did say that his first year as a collegiate player, he did next to nothing. He's kind of a guy who needs to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So he could explode. That's how much talent he has. He just was overwhelmed with everything.
Yeah. So I mean, definitely a lot of moves. We're going to be jumping a lot into it. We're going to also jump into draft. We're gonna do some mock drafts and kind of different scenarios. That's why it's not going away. Okay. But yeah, we're going to do a little, a couple different scenarios, whether it's like maybe, get some different ideas in the sense that, when it comes up, maybe we'll talk about who would everybody pick, like who would I pick in this position, who would Bryan pick.
Yeah, we could
and then maybe what would you guys do, and then maybe we go with what you guys.
Like we don't have to do like a long. I'm not in depth with all these names yet, so we can kind of do like reload it and do like a 4-round mock, then do it again, and So I mean, it'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think, and then
maybe
I
like mock draft.
I always like to do. All of a sudden, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do offense, and then I'm just gonna do defense,
right,
just to switch it up. That way, you get yourself some new names. I try to trade out. Again,
I like to trade down a lot.
Yeah,
I really do.
Too. Well, yeah, because to me, we're talking, we're talking about that same thing, where the sense that you're getting that second round early talent within that last part. So why not trade back a little bit and make it a little bit more worth it? Because obviously, you trade back, you get pieces that you can, you don't know.
Especially if your guys are gone, Phil.
For example, Micah Parsons.
Believe it or not, Dallas's pick there is actually enticing because you get that 5th-year option. Mm-hmm. You may jump from 8 in the second round to number 26 in the first round, but paying that little bit of a price may be worth it to a team who can get that player on a 5th-year option, which is why I said the running back is a good first round at the end of the first round, because you get that 5th year. Yeah, you could potentially have that running back for 5 years and then move on. Yeah, that's all I was saying. But exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll jump into that. We'll talk. Obviously there's stuff that happens throughout the week. And we're going to try to sprinkle in some maybe possible week episodes as we get into there. So definitely look out for that. But yeah, I definitely want to get into it. I want to talk more about these guys. We're bringing them up slowly because we're getting excited. And Frederick Johnson definitely brought it up, and I agree with him. It's just you can't fall in love with any of these guys. And there's some guys that no matter what mock draft I'm doing, I'm always kind of sneaking them into my mock drafts. And so those are the guys you fall in love with. And of course, when they go to a team, especially a rival team, it can hurt a little bit. So I totally get that whole thing. Don't fall in love with them, and kind of let the poker chips kind of fall where they may, right?
Yeah.
So
I was thinking about actually doing a draft board, man. Like getting ready for the actual draft and putting it behind me, and having just you know what I mean. Obviously, I would need help using other people's in the know when you get real deep in the woods, but I think that's kind of neat, so people can see it. Oh, okay, this is what they're doing here, But Dallas normally does a good job drafting. That's the one thing we can say. Yeah. We may disagree, but they're normally right.
Especially when they talk about offensive line, that one's a big thing with me. I some of these names I had never heard of, and then all of a sudden they come up and they've been amazing picks. So it's just I love what Will McClay and his scouting team has been able to do, and so
he is incredible.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. The last couple of years, I've definitely got excited. So I think that's pretty good. I mean, we've covered quite a bit. Subject wise, I mean, there's always news coming out.
I can't believe it's an hour and 7 minutes. Jesus.
Angler Man, best player available needed. Yeah, I love that. I love that strategy. It's definitely helped us, and that's what's helped us in this past couple of years. There's been some stuff that we took this guy instead of like Asante Samuel, Kevin Joseph. I mean, there's always going to be those mistakes. You don't take Watt. You end up taking somebody else. So it's just
because he don't fit in our system when we take a Taco Charlton. I remember that Taco.
There was always a lot of linebackers
Taco
in
the
the draft.
Cheeto in the same draft.
Oh yeah, that was a hell of a hell of an upset stomach. Let me just tell you. So, anyways, before we get out of here, anything you want to talk about, Brian, that we haven't discussed already?
No, I think we're good, man. I'm looking forward to the draft. I think I'm going to be dropping a lot of stuff on my own channel, just to like little quick hitters at work, just to get, Mark's always telling me, you should do this, you should do this, you should do that. And I'm very busy, but listen, if I can, put out some info, and then we'll, put a link in, to Phil's channel, because I got people who watch me that aren't necessarily a part of this channel, and I'm trying to get them over here. It just seems like it's the same names, but every week we get a couple different names.
Yeah, definitely.
But no, man, I'm looking forward to see what we're going to do, who we're going to release, because it's going to happen pretty quick, and then that'll help us take the draft and
figure out what we need. Yeah,
help. Yeah, exactly. It'll take shape.
Yeah, it's like there's definitely some more questions, especially with Parsons, Glimmerman's talking about. But
man, I know Glimmerman. That's the one thing, man. Likes to open his mouth.
Exactly. Yeah, he does.
I don't know how the Joneses are looking at that. I keep seeing pictures with him in an Eagle uniform. I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
No, thank you.
But anyways, thank you guys for coming in, talking with us, talking some shit, some Cowboys stuff. I mean, whether it's conversations about our rivals, about the NFL, we try to dive into more than that. But it's the off season, so we're getting excited about the possibilities, and I think that's where we're trying to also get past those possibilities. And the only way that you're going to improve is obviously improving the roster. Hopefully, you've improved the offensive coordinator and the play calling, but there's so many things that they can do to kind of get over that hump. Do they get over the hump or do they go backwards? I mean, that's going to be the questions, and we're going to watch these moves as well. So, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Game Time, Bryan. I appreciate you coming through, man. We'll figure it out, the draft and everything. But hit that like, share if you can, but don't forget to always do what?
Ring that bell.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, we know each other. He's a friend from work.
What you do, you're like a little screw loose type of guy, and that's how I am. So I'm digging it, big guy. I am.
Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
Game Time, Bryan, otherwise known as the mailman here.
Cool name. Superpowers?
Broadcasting from the illustrious Jobu Studio.
Come on, are you going to tell me who that is?
Primetime Phil, and of course my co-host, Game Time Bryan.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this place is going to explode. $100,000, I don't even need to hear it.